Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Ari. We have another special episode for you today. This is actually episode 100, and it's going to be the next episode in the Law of One series. This episode, what is the Law of One? And again, if you haven't watched the first episode or listened to the first episode explaining who is Ra and what exactly the Law of One books are, then I would recommend going back to that. But right into it, what is the Law of One? Well, according to Ra, its humble messenger, it is the unity of all life. All is one is all. Pretty simple, yet complex at the same time. The Law of One is the message that Ra, allegedly, if you don't believe it, came to Egypt 11,000 years ago again to teach, as well as the message that it taught to and through the group of Don, Jim, and Carla through this channeling. And a more full definition of the Law of One, according to Ra from the book, is this, quote unquote, "In truth, there is no right or wrong. There is no polarity, for all will be, as you would say, reconciled at some point in your dance through the mind-body-spirit complex which you amuse yourself by distorting in various ways at this time. This distortion is not in any case necessary. It is chosen by each of you as an alternative to understanding the complete unity of thought which binds all things. You are not speaking of similar or somewhat like entities or things. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love, light, light, love. You are. This is the Law of One." That's from the Law of One, Book 1, page 67. That quote is absolutely fascinating. I could talk about this stuff all day. This is a truly mind-blowing concept, and it honestly makes a lot of sense to me at this point in my spiritual journey, but I know that this wouldn't have made sense to me even 2 or 3 years ago. Separation is just an illusion. In reality, we are all connected. We are all the same one consciousness that's experiencing itself in different ways. And this perceived separation, keyword perceived, is only in your mind. This perceived separation is only in your misperception of reality. Could it really be that simple? That simple that we're all the same one being in disguise? Our ego doesn't want to admit it, doesn't want to admit that it could be that simple. Our ego wants to believe that we're separate from everyone else. That's how it survives, because the ego is not actually real. The ego is a figment of our mind, of our imagination. On the other hand, Spirit knows this as truth. Spirit knows unity as truth. Our spirit can feel the truth in Ra's words. At least mine can from seeing this. You really know truth. And no matter how limiting words can be in describing concepts like this, you can feel the vibrations. This is the best definition that I can find for the Law of One in words, because to truly know and experience the Law of One is through silence. It's through nonverbal communication. And again, I could talk about the Law of One all day. There's just so much to unravel and so much to interpret through pretty much every single quote in this passage, through every single quote in the Law of One books, which is why I would encourage you, if you're interested in this material, to actually start reading it yourself. And from our limited perspectives, this quote seems absurd. In truth, there is no right or wrong. No right or wrong. There's no way that could be true, right? But right and wrong are just labels that we put on actions. What's right to one person may be wrong to another person. What's right from our perspective could be wrong from another perspective. While I believe that it's best to live and make decisions out of love, I know that I have to let others make the decisions that they believe are quote-unquote right. And if you really believe in a loving and forgiving God, God will basically forgive anything. But that doesn't mean that you should do bad things. You should do things that feel right for you, again, out of love. And there is no polarity, meaning duality, which is what Ra means by this, just the unity, the oneness of all love/light/life, all basically synonyms for each other. And polarity can be seen through the duality in our society, in our world, through the positives and negatives in life, anywhere from the positive and negative poles of a magnet or positive and negative emotions. We always see this duality. It's interesting to think that this distortion, or this world that we find ourselves in, this mind-body-spirit complex that we're all in, which is basically just a fascinating way to say human, is not at all necessary. It's just a way that we amuse ourselves, a way that we can learn more about ourselves and the unity of all life, Another way that we just learn the law of one. We learn unity by thinking that we're all separate, which is honestly just fascinating. And the specific words and phrases that Ra chooses to use are usually spot on and hit hard. And I could read this last couple sentences over and over again. I don't think they would lose any power or potency. Quote unquote, you are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity, you are infinity, you are love, light, light, love, you are. And this is so hard for anybody to truly believe or conceptualize, but deep down we know this as truth. You are everything. We are everything. The only thing that's stopping us from perceiving this is the false belief that we continually tell ourselves and repeat in our mind that we are separate from each other. This is all just an illusion. Ego is separation. Ego is an illusion. Separation is just an illusion. In true reality, you are everyone in everything, every emotion. You are every event. You are every situation. You are unity and infinity because, through the law of one, they are all one. You are love and light. You are light and love. You are love. You are light, intertwined with all of these things. So when are we going to start realizing this? Start living like our true self? When are we going to start living in accord to the law of one? I don't know. I really don't know, but I hope as more people start to wake up and really start getting into this information and realizing the truth of it all and realizing their true and higher self, I think we're going to start to transform this world in magical ways. And again, you can choose to believe whatever you want. I don't want to force you to believe anything. I really can't force you to believe anything because you are going to believe whatever you believe at your level of consciousness. You can believe in separation if that makes you feel better, but understand that if you believe in separation, it doesn't mean that it is true. Believing in something doesn't always make it the truth. Truth is truth, no matter what you think or what you believe. According to Ra, the law of one is truth. We are one, you are one, all is one, all is exactly you. All is exactly me, I am you, you are I. Everything and everyone, infinity, unity, one love. And that's the end for this episode, for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a lot to take in. I'm probably going to listen to this 3 times over. I just love talking about, learning about, listening to the law of one, and I will continue this series in the next episode.